Hey everyone, you're listening to the Sailing to Success podcast show where we share practical tips and strategies to help you be more productive, boost your profits, and grow your business. I'm Lindsay Phillips, founder of Smooth Sailing Business Growth, and I'll be your host and captain for this 30-minute excursion. So today I'll be chatting with serial entrepreneur Nitins. He went from a penniless immigrant to owning and running multi-million-dollar companies. And I'm really excited to be sharing his success tips. We touch upon systems, marketing, hiring, running a team, and just some of those tricks and tips. So let's get started. So I'm really thrilled to be speaking with Nitins, who's a physical therapist, and so much more. He has a really interesting story too, which, I mean, sometimes with my podcast, I delve into the story and sometimes more strategy, but today I'm going to touch a bit on both. He actually began his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 14 when he sold Coca-Cola bottles, before they had them in cans, and returned the bottles back to the store to earn back that deposit. And, as an immigrant who arrived in the States, penniless in 2002 in a post 9/11 world, I mean, he delivered pizza, he slept in his car, he didn't have money for winter clothes, but you can tell that he was just a go-getter, a real hustler. And he actually became a licensed physical therapist, and which is impressive enough, right? But also an entrepreneur, an author, and a public speaker in 2007. And he actually owns and runs several multi-million-dollar companies with 30 plus employees worldwide. So he is definitely living the American dream. He's a licensed, as I mentioned, a physical therapist, but he also co-owns an industry-leading electronic medical record software, and he's the author as well of Total Activation, the 5-Step Fitness Mantra, which is available on Amazon. And it's a dynamic new approach to weight loss and personal wellness, and it's a system that's modeled in 3 changes of stage, so identity, compare, and integrate, which has 5 components as well. So your emotional, physical, social, spiritual, and intellectual. And then, if that wasn't enough, people, he has created a skincare and nutrition line, products that work in synergy to activate the best version of you. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But since its launch in April of 2014, his team has grown dramatically. And the nutrition and skincare products that, he's created has been purchased by thousands of customers. And, living in the East and the West, Total Activation was actually created out of a need for Nitins and his wife in their own lives, so that, again, you can be the best version of yourself. So, I mean, going from a penniless immigrant to, God, I mean, it's impressive enough being a physical therapist, but now earning millions and being an entrepreneur, I definitely want to tap into what his secrets of success are. So thank you for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here and add value to your listeners.
Thank you. So, I mean, my gosh, it's hard enough, as you were saying off there, we both have young children and you're expecting another, which is really exciting. And it's enough just being a physical therapist and working full time like most people do. What made you delve into the electronical, medical software end of things? Because that's quite a stretch.
Every physical therapist, for that matter, every health professional, but I can talk specifically about physical therapists because I'm a physical therapist. My wife's a physical therapist. Every physical therapist is, outstanding at treating patients, working with patients, but they're not necessarily comfortable with or even interested in software.
Right.
When I say software, I mean, software for email marketing, text message marketing, even, online scheduling, online documentation, online billing. It's just, think of all of these things as necessary evils for any business. I mean, you and I are using a piece of software right now to talk to each other, to record this podcast. Software is a part of pretty much every aspect of our lives. So for me, I saw, the electronic medical software realm as a logical extension of some of the things we were already doing, because we've been, creating and selling software for over 10 years now. So for me, I enjoy the creative aspect of creating software, of marketing software, of lecturing, writing articles, more so than actually working with patients. So I would go so far as to say I'm a better public speaker, writer than I am a clinician. And my wife reminds me all the time that she's a better clinician than I am. And I'm like, yes, you're right. You're right. You got to know your strengths.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, the fact that I'm a physical therapist, I'm honored and privileged to be one because it's given me an understanding of what we struggle with as physical therapy private practice owners. So that led to the creation of my first 3 or 4 businesses. And before I became a physical therapist, I was actually a fitness trainer, an athlete. And, the concept of total activation was something I sort of wrote about almost 15 years ago. And so for me, life has now come back full circle after successfully creating products. And I still do that. That's what I enjoy doing. I've sort of come back full circle to the concept of total activation, which you alluded to, which is essentially a life philosophy, which will not only help you, live a better life as a person, but it'll also actually help you become a more successful business owner. Because I think in any business, the self needs to be in balance before you can attempt to, go out there and add value and make money. I mean, if you're kind of screwed up internally, you're not going to be able to add value to other people, lead other people, and run a successful business.
No, I agree. I mean, and especially as an entrepreneur, I mean, our brains are always working, right? And it is hard to find balance sometimes, but it's like to have your physical element, like going to the gym and having your, emotional state kind of, straight and narrow. And if you have balance in those different areas, you just feel so much more focused and clear, and you can forge into the future just that much better.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well said.
So obviously, yeah, it blows me away that people usually in the medical industry, and not to stereotype or anything, but they're more interested in being with people and helping them and not being on the technical side of things. So the fact that you're into both is quite interesting. So at what point was it with that company or your nutrition skincare line that you started to bring on more staff members?
I think we grew pretty quickly and pretty organically very fast. So we actually started bringing on staff members within an hour, actually.
Holy.
Within a French. I wish that were true. I meant to say within a year.
That makes more sense.
I have no idea why I said that, but
that's all right. Maybe it felt like an hour because it went by so damn fast.
There you go. How about this? I started a business and within an hour I hired 20 people. Woo-hoo. Within 2 hours I made my first $1 million, and within a day I was, I started building my own rocket ships. That sounds a lot more, that sounds a lot that's a much better person for a podcast than I would be, to be honest.
There you go.
That's a superhero.
I don't think that person doesn't exist. So how did you go from, when you were a physical therapist, did you have your own practice or were you working for somebody else?
Yes, I did have my own practice, and I built it up myself by marketing, by hustling, knocking on doors, getting referrals. So I did that. And then, I said, you know what, the stuff I'm doing works and I'm going to teach it. I'm going to teach it to other people,
That's great. And then, just managing people takes a whole skill. So, going from one person to having some staff and now having multiple businesses with staff and their own goals, their own core values, their own agendas and so forth, how do you manage all of that? Like, do you have specific systems or ways of dealing with your team?
Well, we actually have systems for everything. We have systems for pretty much how to do customer support. Mm-hmm. We have systems for how to basically get how to support clients, how to fulfill our products, how to use software to automate marketing from our clients. Mm-hmm. So we literally have systems for every single thing that you can imagine,
And do you have managers or empowering your team to help you make those decisions? I mean, I'm assuming you're not creating all of this on your own, that you do rely heavily on some of your staff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the systems that are created, the original systems on how to do something are created by me. My staff keeps improving and, sort of refining the systems. And then we have the managers who help the rest of the team implement those systems. I mean, because I like, I would say a good analogy is, when you're going from zero to, let's say, $100,000 in revenue, it's entirely a function of how hard you work, how good your product is, how much you market. But if you want to go from 100,000 to a million, 2 million or more, you've got to have good people and good systems. Otherwise, you're not going to scale. You're just going to, fold and sort of, and disappear.
That's a great point. And I know I've had to scale my business a couple of times, and it's always changing, right? It's never static. When you kind of reach another level, you have to think about how you can scale it better. Do you have any tips for entrepreneurs that are that kind of at that fork in the road where they need to scale?
Yeah, I mean, when you're scaling, make sure that you become very good at identifying and hiring the right people, because identifying and hiring the right people is a very, very important aspect of success. Hiring the right people will allow you to sort of be hands off. Otherwise, you're going to have to interfere and sort of meddle in every little part of your business, and you're not going to be productive if that's the case.
No, if you're having to micromanage along the way, I mean, you might as well do it yourself, which obviously you're going to burn the candles at both ends. Just out of curiosity, what are some of the criteria that you look for in a quote unquote great employee?
It's interesting you asked that. Whenever we look for an employee, we put out an ad and then we talk about, here's who we are, here's why we are a fun place to work. Here's the kind of person we need. If you're the kind of person who works 9 to 5 and wants to clock out at the end of the day, then this job is not for you. If you're the kind of person who comes to work with a sense of enthusiasm, is not afraid to put in extra hours, and is looking to improve processes as opposed to just being told what to do all the time, then you're the right person for us. If you think you fit the bill, send us an email telling us about the last time you made someone smile.
Oh, nice.
That's it. 95% of the emails we get, people just email us their resume. Yeah. So we have an internal sort of filter within our email that if they don't include the word smile in the email they send us, then we delete the email.
Interesting.
We don't even look at the people with resume. So if someone follows the instruction, reveals their personality, is a little, is fun and quirky and sort of, we don't even look at their resume. We try and identify people who have the right work ethic, who match with our personality, and who read the ad. They don't just blindly start sending resumes everywhere, because if they've read the ad, they're more likely to be in sync with our culture.
That and attention to detail, which is always a good skill. Following instructions. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I find that personality is like it's more than half of the puzzle. I mean, there's a lot of things in your business that you can train, and unless you're looking for a brain surgeon that's very specific, but yeah, it's like you're halfway there if you have someone that personality aligns with you and your company and what you're looking for. It's huge.
Exactly.
And so how do you deal with like training and team culture and because I mean, managing a team is a lot of hard work and making sure that everyone's happy and following the systems. And I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in there. Number one, I have people I can rely on.
Right. And number two, each one of those people have, a set of guidelines.
Perfect.
Within which they can tackle a situation. If they have to deviate from those guidelines, they have the freedom to do that without checking with me, as long as they are okay being held accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, we have freedom. On the other hand, we don't want someone who, makes excuses or sort of blames others when things go south. So I guess it's a very sort of flexible, honest culture. And honestly, there have been times Lindsay, where I'm talking with my staff and I'm like, oh gosh, I was such an idiot. I should have done this. So they see that openness from me.
Yeah.
They hear me call myself out. So when I call them out, in a respectful way, of course.
Yeah.
Or when they call each other out, it's accepted. It's not, oh my God, how could he say that to me? Right. So we have a culture where we call each other out and where we playfully challenge each other, and we're constantly pushing each other. Don't get me wrong; it's not a chilled out environment. It's a go kind of environment. But it's a kind of life we lead, and it's the kind of company we have.
That's nice. And yeah, you're so right. I mean, I've seen some entrepreneurs that just take themselves too seriously. And it's, with my team, it's like, yep, I totally gapped out. I sent you the wrong information, or I sent you the wrong file, or, I'm not perfect, and I'll happily admit it when I do so. And yeah, always looking for their input and I think that too, that helps foster that feeling of a team versus you being a boss and overseeing, the people.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to jump to and hear a little bit more about your nutrition and your skincare line. So tell me how that came to be.
Total activation is basically a system of sort of activating yourself from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So the philosophy is, for those who care about what they put on and in their body, having lived, living and growing up in India, I saw, the amazing sort of organic, herbs and spices and, stuff you can get in India to, rejuvenate your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other hand, coming to the US, I saw these amazing, incredible, supplements that can sort of contribute to healthy hair, skin, nails. So I said to myself, a system that combines the best of the East and the West. We're talking, skincare products made from organic ingredients, and things like aloe vera, and nutritional supplements that contain, substantial amounts of vitamins and minerals, fish oils, protein to sort of help improve collagen production, improve blood circulation, and overall improve the quality of life. Combining these things into one system would be a powerful combination, and that system would sort of feed the philosophy which is written in which is in my book, Total Activation, which, as you said, is emotional, physical, social, spiritual, and intellectual balance. So for me, a philosophy with products that complement the philosophy was how the whole concept of Asian and the associated skincare products and nutritional supplements was born.
Nice. And are these items strictly sold online, or are they in stores?
It's online. So our products are on totalactivation.com, on Amazon, on Walmart, Jet, and eBay. And we're selling it primarily online.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know a lot more people are moving towards things that are more natural with no chemicals. And I mean, same here. My son has eczema, and I mean, he does have medication for his skin, but now I'm using, geranium oil and, some other oils that I use on his skin. And it's helped so much because I'm just like, I don't want him relying on the chemicals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, and you're absolutely right.
Just moving to more natural products. And like you say, I mean, what you're ingesting, what you're putting on your skin that goes in your body, I mean, it affects your well-being, and not that your business is the be all and end all, but it affects your success in general. They're all like interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so what have you learned over the past number of years then with your electronic medical software and this company with marketing? Tell me your approach with marketing and maybe some of the elements that you think entrepreneurs can learn from.
So there are three aspects to marketing. One is what we call the awareness phase, where a customer who doesn't know anything about you suddenly becomes aware of you. It's kind of like, going on a date with someone. You kind of get to know them and decide, hey, do I want to see this person again? Or, what's my first impression? So that's the awareness phase. Then there is what we call the acquisition phase. which is where the customer exchanges something meaningful with you. It could be time if someone schedules a demo with you. It could be if someone, picks up the phone and calls you. That's a big deal.
Yes.
Someone calling your business because, they're giving you their most valuable commodity, which is time, right? And of course, obviously, if they buy something from you or invest money with you. So if there's an exchange of time or money, the relationship changes. The person goes from becoming a prospect to a customer. So there's awareness, meaningful engagement with prospects. You can give away white papers, downloadable ebooks, documents, freebies. You then convince the person to engage in some sort of an exchange with you, which then becomes acquisition. And then the third aspect is actually what we call engagement. Some people call it retargeting, some people call it replication. But engagement is where you take your existing customers and where you are able to educate them, indoctrinate them with your way or your lifestyle or your way of doing things. As long as you provide meaningful value to clients, they should then see the need to come back to you and buy more stuff.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself can create a successful business, because most businesses spend a lot of time in awareness, but they suck when it comes to acquisition, and they have zero or no engagement once somebody has made a purchase.
I know, that's so true. It's funny you talk about that, because I literally just made a video yesterday about nurturing, how people, same thing as engaging. Once they're a client or once they're on their e-list, it's sort of like they just think that, oh, if they want something, they'll come ask for it. I'm like, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, just to me, it's like staying in touch, informing, just like you said. So do you find like email marketing? Do you do direct marketing, social media?
It's a combination of all of the above. We have email, we do some direct mail, we do a lot of social media, Facebook specifically. But it's, honestly, it's less about the medium and it's more about the message. We've been experimenting with voicemail campaigns. We've been experimenting with SMS campaigns. Honestly, Lindsay, the medium could change, right? I mean, today we do Facebook. You never know. 15 years from today, heck, we might be able to, if people are, playing a game, we might be able to transmit messages in their ears through the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might be listening to, Alexa, listening to music, and all of a sudden you hear, hey, wait, did you know that there's a sale running for an hour on such and such product? I'm pretty sure that's part of Amazon's plan. And then, of course, if you go to physical stores, you might have customized ads. So, honestly, the medium of the transmission of the message will change, will evolve. I don't know if you've seen this movie, Minority Report from Tom Cruise, with Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise. So he's actually, when he's running away from his team, when he's suspected of being, a bad guy, when he walks into a mall, they actually scan his eyes and then show him customized offers on the screens in the mall. So that's just one example of where we could be heading. But again, this just goes to show that the actual medium, whether it's messages on Facebook or ads on Facebook or pictures on Instagram or videos on YouTube or text messages on your phone or letters in the mail, what really matters is the message. If I show a beer drinker an ad about, a new kind of Heineken beer, then I could make a sale. But if I ask them to drink vodka, I'm wasting my money. If I show a lipstick ad to a male, what do you think he's going to do? Hopefully he's not going to buy the lipstick unless it's for his spouse or wife or something, right? but again, the messaging and the targeting is much more important in my mind than the medium in and of itself,
That is true. I mean, really, when you think about it, everyone is so different. Some people like to watch things. Some people like to listen. Some people like to read. Some people may be on Instagram. Some people may not. So it's like, covering your grounds is probably key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So for entrepreneurs that are out there and that are growing their business and want to take them to the next level, what kind of mindset, kind of motivation do you have? I mean, I'm sure you've had your ups and your downs but you've tackled so much and you seem extremely ambitious and successful. So I would love for you to, inspire us with how we can move forward.
You mean in terms of my approach to things, my general approach?
Yeah, or just like to success and make you want to do more and take it to the next level.
You're always going to be faced with situations when you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. Whether it's something you tried to do that backfired. Mm-hmm. I can give you 4 or 5 examples. Employees might quit on you. Mm-hmm. Vendors might bail on you and not give you what you need. Software might fail on you. Heck, you might get sued. We actually even got sued by a competitor who, thought that was the only way to stop us, and of course, it didn't go anywhere. Yeah. You might run into all kinds of problems, and you will run into problems, because if you're doing anything that's ambitious and meaningful, you are going to run into situations where your vision or your ambition is not in line with reality. And that is going to happen, so the question is not whether you'll run into trouble or whether you'll face trouble, because you will. Mm-hmm. Amazon, again, talking about Amazon has had huge failures. For example, their Fire phone that they invested a lot of money on, it bombed, right? Apple has also had devices that kind of just disappeared, and so on and so forth. So the question is not when you get into a hard, sort of a tough spot. The question is, what do you do when you are in that spot?
Right.
And in my mind, when you're in a tough spot, you do only 2 things. One, you ask yourself, what is the single thing I can do now to claw myself out of this situation? Mm-hmm. I can tell you that when I was essentially bankrupt, all I decided to do was pick up the phone and start calling my, former clients, because I had done business with a few people, and I just started, hustling and selling them more stuff that would help them. And that's how I was able to, start to raise some cash and pay off my bills and climb out of the financial hole I was in. The second thing is, make sure you can call people or reach out to people who can share their wisdom with you. Now, if you're lucky enough to, go to conferences or be part of networking circles where you can be friends with people who can, sort of be your mentors, that's great. But if you can't, guess what? Pay them. A lot of these mentors will, be happy to, they have these kinds of mastermind programs where you can sign up and pay a fee to have access to a mentor. Make sure you have someone you can reach out to who can help you, whether it's through a personal relationship or whether it's through, an exchange of money, because they'll help you avoid and deal with situations that you would not otherwise be able to deal with.
That's true. That's good advice. And I find I'm part of a mastermind group as well. And just being a part of the group with like-minded people, it keeps you inspired and motivates you to do more and stay accountable. And I definitely think it's beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. So how can people find your skincare line?
Yeah, if they visit www.totalactivation.com, again, that's totalactivation.com, they can actually get the book Total Activation. They can get our skincare products. They can get our nutritional supplements. And if they send us a message through our contact page, Lindsay, and they mention your name, then we'll be happy to give them a discount for our products. Or if any entrepreneurs listening want to get some advice or some input from me, just mention Lindsay's name on the contact us page, and I'll make sure that my team gets that email over to me. And I promise you, I'll respond. It may not be right away, but I will respond and help you. And that's my way of thanking Lindsay for the opportunity of being here on her show.
Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. And I noticed that you you sell not only in the States, but also Canada and England as well, which is awesome.
All over the world. Yeah, we ship internationally.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much for taking your time. I mean, owning, so many businesses and having a young family, and just sharing your success tips. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. So that is it for today's episode of Sailing to Success podcast, folks. Of course, you can find this episode, others, my videos and blogs at smoothbusinessgrowth.com or my sister site at lindsayphillips.com. So have a profitable and productive week, and may the winds always be at your back.